24 hours away from standing in front of that great building, the Lincoln Memorial, tomorrow. Hello, America. I'm going to give you a little preview of something that's going to happen, kind of, at the Kennedy Center tonight. They're now at the Kennedy Center getting ready. Those who will join me on stage, but we'll talk a little bit about it tonight. On this program, we've talked about the Black Robe Brigade before. These were the preachers back in colonial America. They were called that because they wore black robes. That's what they wore while they were preaching. The British didn't really like the preachers in America. In fact, the British placed the entire blame for the American Revolution on the preachers. They said if it wasn't for the preachers, the people in America would be one big happy British family. So when they came over to America, they started going after the churches and the preachers, and they burned them down to the ground, from New York to New Jersey to Virginia, and that's if you were lucky. Other churches were burned down with people boarded inside, the preachers. If you were caught, you were most likely killed if you were a preacher. Now why? Why would the British blame the preachers for the American Revolution? What was it that they were saying that made them hate them so much? What was it that they were doing that was so bad for the king? Well, they were preaching no king but Jesus, no king but God, the idea that your rights came from him, and that all men were created equal, and that people should have the right to live free and have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness because they were sons and daughters of God, and that's who gave them the right, no king. All of these things came from the pulpit before they came out of the mouth of Adams or Jefferson or Washington or Franklin. It came from preachers first, and the British needed to stomp that out. So first, they intimidated. The powerful king intimidated. And then, eventually, they just killed. The words in our founding documents, many of them came from either the Bible or they came from the pulpit. The Bible, I have to tell you, I walked in today, and I'm not going to rat this person out. But this is actually from a journalist's desk here at Fox. And it was open. I mean, I walked in, it stopped me in mid-sentence. I walked in, I'm like, hey, there's a Bible on your desk, and it's open. When's the last time you saw that? You know why things are so screwed up today? Because you might have one, but you'd never have it on your desk. You might have one, but when's the last time you opened it? A lot of Americans have lost sight of that, and certainly our country doesn't focus on the Bible anymore. Our neighbors in Canada think the Bible is hate speech now, believe it or not. It wasn't always that way. In fact, it's kind of a pretty new recent trend. The founders relied on the Bible. Do you know that more than 30 times, all the other books, all the other things they could have read, more than 30 times the book of Deuteronomy over everything else? That's what the founders used. Book of Deuteronomy, in case you haven't read it for a while, that's kind of the laws of Moses stuff. Jefferson and Adams wrote to each other. They were famous pen pals. They wrote to each other late in life because they really hated each other in the middle of their life. One of the things they talked about, it was about 1820, was one of them wrote and said, you know what we've done here? He said, yeah, it's a miracle. He said, yeah, I know, but it's going to fail. The other one wrote back, yeah, I know it's going to fail. Why are you being such a fat pessimist? He said, I trust in the people. And they weren't satisfied with what the system they created, but they did their best. They said, we should have put more Deuteronomy in there. We should have gotten more into the framework. We tried. When they started talking about the failure of the country, they said, it's okay, though. It's okay. Because when it fails, the people will remember what we were trying to do, and they'll do it right. Wow.